Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Pretty and Powerful podcast, where we normalize healing out loud, protecting our peace, knowing our worth, and turning pain into power. I'm your host, Anna Evans, and every week we're going to have raw, real, and empowering conversations that remind you just who you are. Let's get into it. So it has been a wait. Okay, it's been a long wait for this podcast to finally get started. And the beautiful thing about this podcast is we're nothing but real, raw, and authentic over here. And if I'm being completely honest, the biggest reason why the delay in recording and posting this podcast, getting it started, has taken so long, is really just boils down to my mental health has been terrible, truly. Here and there, I could say I'm busy, but I would not say that I'm too busy to execute said plan, the podcast plans. For context, I have been struggling with depression my entire life. I didn't really get dealt cards that were easy. And with that being said, I've struggled with things throughout my life, and one of them has been depression and anxiety. And so I am one of those people where I am like a high functioning depressed person in the grand scheme of things. Like, I go to work, I laugh and smile and joke and go on about my life for the most part. Like, nothing's wrong, nothing's going on, like there's no issues. But whenever it comes to like my hobbies or a passion or something I've always wanted to do, it is like one of the hardest things for me to do, to just do it. Like, just dive in and do what I'm truly passionate about, because I don't know. I don't really know. I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you the whys and hows of everything. But long story short, the reason why it's taken me so long to even record the very first episode is because I put off my hobbies, my passions, my desires. I put them on the back burner and take care of a lot of other things first. And then once I have the time to actually do it, it's like I just can't. I don't know what it is. I'm sure many of you guys that struggle with mental health can probably relate to that. But let's get into it. So first of all, I want to thank all of my Facebook followers who have patiently been waiting. Thank you for being so patient with me, for understanding. I want to give a huge shout out to a few of my Facebook followers who have been so supportive and encouraging. Definitely could not have felt motivated without you. So thank you. We're going to start off the podcast a little bit simple. In this episode, I'm just going to be answering some questions that I have gotten and kind of go from there. For future podcast episodes, if you ever have like any questions or concerns that you would like me to include on a podcast episode, or if you have suggestions, or if you would even like to talk about being a guest on the podcast, please message me on Facebook, as that is like the best way to get a hold of me. And I will do what I can do and work some magic and make things happen. I think that starting is the hardest part, and I think that now that I'm starting, it is going to be easier. I will say that I may struggle, but you guys are going to hear the rawness and the realness about the struggles, and we will get through it together. So let's get started on just answering a few questions. So you guys, if you do not already know me, you can kind of get to know me. So my name is Anna Evans. I am turning 30 in a week, to be exact. 1 week, I will be 30. And that brings a whole other plethora of thoughts. We'll save that for a different moment. I'm a mother and a wife and a daughter, of course. And I have gone through a whole mess, a whole lot of horrific, traumatizing things. And one thing that I have learned over my 30 years is that talking about the things I've gone through and learning lessons from these things in a healthy way and helping others is the best way I can heal from these experiences. Am I perfect? No. Am I healed completely? Absolutely not. I don't think I ever will be in some ways. But I can say that it is my mission to use my experiences and lessons that I've learned and try my best to help others and inspire others. And that's one of my many passions. Podcasting is a passion I've always had that I've always wanted to do. And so combining the two, I think, would be a great opportunity to help others and help heal within myself as well. I work multiple jobs. They're really like multiple part-time jobs. So I, for the most part, stay pretty busy, whether I'm doing the mom role or I'm at one of my part-time jobs. Anyway, let's get into some here and there questions that may be related to each other and might not. So let's get into it. First question is, what am I currently going through in this season of my life? Well, I feel like there's different categories to that question. Like, it depends on like what I'm thinking about. My mind is always racing. ADHD. So if you have ADHD, I can relate to you in many ways. But what am I currently going through in this season of life? I am going through confusion. I feel like I'm under a lot of pressure, and like mentally, like a lot of the issues that I struggle with are just in my head. A lot of them aren't, but I would say that I'm going through a season of depression, confusion, pressure, but also there is a light side to that. I have moments where I feel very inspired and motivated and energetic. I feel there's just so much I want to do, and there's a whole life that I want to work towards to have, because I only have one life and one opportunity to live the life that I want, and I want it so bad. It's just, we don't have a guidebook, we don't have a handbook, we don't have rules, we don't have a step-by-step plan that's guaranteed to give you the life you want. And so when you have to figure it out on your own, it's pretty hard. So there's just like a lot mixed into like this current season I'm in. I know what I want out of life. I just don't know how to get it. So let me know if you can relate to that. Here's the next question. What is something I've healed from that I never thought I would? Oh, God. My first divorce. Something I want to, it's not even that I miss the person I was with. That's not at all it. At all. Because let me tell you something. I do not miss the person I divorced, however many years ago that was. Okay? At all. But I will tell you that divorce is a very hard thing to go through. I mean, I've been through worse, but it is a hard thing to go through because after you get a divorce, let me just preface by saying I'm speaking from my experience. I can't speak for everyone. So I might word it wrong, but I'm trying to speak from my perspective. But getting a divorce, I thought I would never heal from that. Because when it was happening and the process was going on, I was struggling. I was really struggling mentally. And a lot of it was because I was not fully matured. I was still a kid. I wouldn't say I had fully matured at that point. I might not even be fully matured now, but we're not going to get into that. But it was really, really hard because that was like the first serious relationship I had been in. And just like going through all the motions of, getting married, what happened in the marriage to divorce and going through the divorce. It was just a lot. And whenever I was getting a divorce, I was also, I was very, very depressed at that time too. I can't speak too much into it. I mean, I'm just not ready to do that yet. But that was definitely one thing that sucked. Because after that, I, from experience, realized I couldn't handle seeing other people getting married. Like, I couldn't handle it because of what my first marriage ended up being and turning into. Like, it was so emotional for me to see anybody get married. Like, I couldn't handle it. But I definitely healed from that. Never thought I would. At that time, I didn't think I was going to. But I definitely healed from it. And now, I'm like, it is what it is, Now that I'm out of it and it's been, maybe 8 or 9 years. I don't know. I'm like, I mean, I get it. I was going through it at that time. And so, like, my mental at that time was, like, struggling. And so that's why I was, like, panicking. Like, I can't do it. But now I'm like, I'm so glad that I got out of that. So glad that's over. On to, another season of life, shall we say. What does being strong really mean to me now versus before? Oh, God. I don't really know how to answer that in the context of like now versus before. Truly, I don't know quite how to answer that. But in the sense of like, what does being strong really mean to me? I think that being strong to me means going through something and feeling whatever I'm feeling and acknowledging like, hey, like even it, like really just acknowledging within myself, like, this is what happened to me, for example. This is how it makes me feel. I'm feeling it right now. But I also see, like, the reality of the situation. I see, like, what's the best thing I need to do or not do or whatever. I feel like that's a huge part of being strong is, like, feeling what you're feeling about a situation, but still being able to see the reality that needs to be seen. One of the biggest ways that I've been strong throughout my life is managing major depressive disorder and BPD in really intense situations and still being able to get through it and come out the other side and survive it. Because I'm telling you, the mental side of like when you go through situations, whether it's good or bad, is probably the most intense part of a situation you could, because like, you break an arm, it heals eventually, but your mind can remember so much, and your mind can like be stuck in a survival fight or flight mode without you even realizing it. And I just think, I'm not sure if I'm answering this correctly, but to me, being strong is like mental, being mentally strong, being able to acknowledge that like I'm going through this. This is how it's making me feel, but I know that I'm going to be okay. I know I just need to feel this and then get right through it. It reminds me of Angelina Jolie said in an interview one time, something around the lines of, when you go through something, get in it, like go through it, feel it, sit in it for a minute, but then get back up and go right through it. You know what I mean? Next question. What is a moment in my life that completely changed me? Oh my gosh. Well, there's a ton of moments. There's a ton of moments, but I think one of the biggest, I don't know. There's been so many different experiences for me that have been very similar. And this could be like a trigger warning, I guess, but I have been sexually assaulted many times. And with that happening to me, I feel like I have kind of gotten a quote unquote like third eye for spotting red flags in that area, or like spotting a creeper, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I could kind of, I don't know. I feel like I've got like a third eye for inappropriateness. Is that a word? I don't know. It's like I got a third eye for that kind of stuff. So it's like I can catch it early, or I can see like if it's going to go there before it even goes there. It's kind of messed up, but it completely changed me. Like, I look at people in the world in a whole different aspect because of like things I've went through. It's just kind of like a survival type of response, I guess. Another question is, what do people misunderstand about me the most? Well, I don't know what other people misunderstand about me, truly. Because nobody's open about if they misunderstand something about me. I mean, that I'm aware of. One thing that comes to mind, though, is, if you don't already know, I started a Choose Kindness movement, and it's really just me. But other people have kind of showed interest in it. But basically, last year I started standing at the courthouse in the town over where I used to live, and holding a sign that says "Choose Kindness," or maybe like another kind quoted, poster board. And really, I started this whole Choose Kindness movement thing, really just trying to inspire others to be kind, but also like make people's days brighter and make people smile and give people hope in the world, trying to impact the community in a positive way. But I think that what people misunderstand about me, maybe, I don't know, they don't, people aren't really open about it. But if I had to guess, I would think people would think that since I started that I'm like, always the kindest person on the face of the earth, or like I'm always kind. I'm going to be very blunt and honest with you that I am a genuinely kind person to everybody that I see or talk to. Like, I have like a very genuine, almost like a therapist professional type of attitude. Like, I can get along with everybody, anybody and everybody. I can get along with you. I'll agree with you on pretty much anything, because it's easier to agree with somebody than argue with them about, like politics or religion or something. So I'm very easy to get along with, but I'm genuinely a kind person to everybody. I swear I would give, I have, but I would give, all I had to someone if it was to help them. Or, like my very first thought in some situations is, how can I help? How can I make that person smile? How can I surprise someone? Like, I just love to give and surprise people and just show acts of kindness. Like, I just love to do that. But what I think people would misunderstand about me, if they even do, is that because of my kindness movement and my genuine kindness attitude, that I just will take anything and tolerate anything. Because let me tell you, I don't. When I was in high school and grade school, yes, I was the biggest baby. I was terrified of everybody. People would beat on me and I just let them. But now, let me tell you something, okay? Let me tell you something. Ain't further from the truth. I'm kind, but if you give me 1.5 million reasons why how do I say this? Rewind. The brain ain't braining. I'm kind until someone tries to play with my sanity or plays with my mental. You know what I'm saying? Like my mental health. When someone really tries to intimidate me or hurt me mentally or physically, or manipulate me or gaslight me, or they start to that's whenever a line has been crossed. Once I see that you're really out for blood, or you're really not looking out for my best interest or my health, and I can see that your words and actions don't line up, or you're really trying to just do me dirty in some sort of way, I got zero respect for you. I got zero respect, and I'm still gonna try to filter my thoughts and what I say, but I'm telling you, I'm kind until you give me every reason to not respect you. But I know that I have toxic traits about me. Once I feel once my problem is that once someone shows me their ugly side and their monstrous side, or their toxic side, their toxic traits, and they're intentionally trying to harm me in an abusive way or a mental health way, I no longer respect you, so I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm going to tell you exactly how you are, exactly what you're doing, and I'm going to probably treat your life, because I'm not going to deal with the bullshit. You know what I mean? And I think that's what people may misunderstand about me, is that I'm kind 100% of the time, and just let people walk all over me. That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my life, is that you can be a kind individual, a professional, respectable person, but still you have to have boundaries, and you still have to stand up for yourself, and you still have to have your own back and not let people walk all over you. Because people will walk all over you if you let them. And I have let people do that. I have been very known in the past for letting people do whatever they wanted to me, because I was too scared to stand up for myself. I'm telling you, something I've learned that I want you to take away from this podcast episode is that nobody in the world can read your mind and feel your feelings and know your heart as much as you do. And so therefore, it is your responsibility to have your back, stand up for yourself, have your own back, and advocate for yourself. I don't care how many times you have to do it and how loud you have to say it. That is your responsibility. That is a form of self-care. It really is. And you might hurt feelings, but I'm telling you, if you stand up for yourself and tell someone how they're being and tell them how it makes you feel, and they're still doing it and they get offended, or, they throw a tantrum about it, that says everything you need to know. And that is that. So there's that spiel based on that question. Let's see. I've got a ton of questions to kind of answer this question. It's about the title of the podcast. So, as you know, the podcast is called Pretty and Powerful. Question is, what does pretty and powerful mean to me personally? Okay, the reason I created that name for this podcast is because being pretty is one thing. And a lot of people can look at a pretty face and think, oh, she's too pretty to do that. Or, well, she's pretty and all, but I don't think she can really handle like all this stuff. Like people assume everything based on how you look. And I am here to tell you that, as I have matured, physically, and my appearance has changed, I don't mean this in a cocky way at all. Like, I am not cocky. I am not like obsessed with myself in any way, let me tell you. But I have, how should I say this? I've discovered as I've grown up a little that I'm not a hideous, ugly person inside or out. And I mean that in the most humble way. And I have been blessed to be considered pretty by some people. But something that I have learned is that people think that you're either too pretty to be able to do stuff, or you're just a pretty face. You know what I'm saying? Like and it's a lot on social media where you see this more, because people are a little bit they're too scared to say it out loud, face to face. But you see it a lot on social media where, oh, well, that's probably like all daddy's money or husband's money or blah, blah, blah. Like, she's too pretty to do this, or she's blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? I have been called pretty more than I have been called powerful. And when I was thinking about what to name this podcast, I kind of rambled there for a second, sorry. But when I was thinking about what should I call this podcast, I thought about, okay, I want 2 words, and I want them to mean something. Like I want it to be 2 words that's catchy, I want them to both start with the same letter. So I'm thinking, okay, what the heck can I do that's 2 words, the same letter, blah, blah, blah. But then I thought about it, and I was thinking, I can be pretty and something else at the same time. And while I am not going to flaunt to the world that, oh, I'm beautiful and pretty and hot and blah, blah, blah. Like, that makes me cringe. But since I have been considered or complimented in the sense of being called pretty, I'm like, I am so much more than that. I'm not just a pretty face. I am powerful. And there are so many other women out there that are pretty and powerful. And being pretty isn't just a physical exterior. It's not just how you look. It's how you act, how you treat people. Your genuine desire of how to treat people is really what makes you pretty. And so when I made this podcast, I really wanted it to reflect my personality, my being. And I feel like I'm not just pretty. I'm pretty and powerful. I'm pretty and successful. I'm pretty and And like, it kind of helps my self-confidence, but it also, I want it to inspire others as well. So that's where it came from. Well, I'm going to do one more question, and then I'm going to wrap it up, and we will do another episode in a week. I'm thinking we will do Sunday nights, maybe. I don't know. I want to do one podcast episode a week, but for future reference, let me know when you guys prefer to listen to podcasts, and I will highly appreciate your feedback. One more question to answer. What is something I'll never tolerate again? Oh my goodness. I could go so deep into this question. I kind of feel hypocritical because if I answer this the way I want to, because I'm still kind of tolerating it in a sense. But one thing I will never tolerate again is what's the best thing to say on a podcast? Being disrespected, flat out. Being disrespected by someone who claims to love me. That's where I'll leave it at. All right, guys, that's the last question for this episode. This is kind of like a gentle walk into this new podcast era. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider listening to the next ones. You can tune in on YouTube or Facebook. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you for your support, your love, your patience, and listening. And I will see you, well, not see you, but I will talk to you next time on episode 2. This is the Pretty and Powerful Podcast.